Chapter 84. The Planning Game. Go ahead, you can ask me everything you want to know, Ruthorn said encouragingly. But, by the way, there is nothing in the universe that isn't important. Well, I started, yesterday, Kaharu and I realized that we were both very surprised by the events that had happened to us, and it almost seemed as if these had been planned. Everything coincided so perfectly, and even if I don't fully understand the process yet, I have learned that nothing happens by chance, so I'm wondering what made each of those incidents happen. Ah, Ruthorn said, that's a good question. If you only think superficially, this might seem like a coincidence, or it may look like good fortune has come to you. But if you think more profoundly by understanding our processes, you will understand that it was you who actually made everything happen. Moreover, you hadn't planned things long in advance, it was your spur-of-the-moment planning. Wait, I swear that I didn't plan any of this before, I argued. I never even thought of what could happen because I really didn't know anything. Let me tell you that it is not your conscious mind that makes things happen, but it's actually your soul that does that for you. Ruthorn picked up. If there was a way to show you the conversations that take place between your soul and the souls of other people around you, you would see how they enjoy playing a game of creating situations that confront you and your friends. These souls define and align among themselves, and once they have chosen a particular situation, they watch it play out with amusement. You can never guess what your soul will do for you. Sometimes, it may change the plan. It can change its mind, just as you do, and alter the direction that had already been set before. The soul sometimes changes the plan for its amusement, and sometimes to improve things. Tuangra is a world of free souls without commitments or karmic contracts, and a world full of happiness. Hence, these souls can have fun doing whatever they want without worrying about any karmic bond with other souls. And of course, by having your soul create the situations, it only allows only the good and special things to happen to you, Ruthorn continued. There will be no bad circumstances, no accidents, no punishments for you, and you won't be disappointed or have any suffering at all. Because everyone here has already gone through the most difficult battle. A similar process has been applied on Gaia as well, but the application was completely the opposite. The souls there tried to cause mistakes, disappointment, separation, sadness, and sufferings, concluded Ruthorn. You said before that our souls are filled with love, so why do they enjoy making us suffer then? I objected. It's the desire of every soul to have you gain awareness. I still don't understand. It's because they try to do everything with love, he emphasized. But his answer didn't make it any clearer for me at all. If you say they do it out of love, this confuses me even more. How can they make someone suffer out of love? I believe that anyone who acts in that way is driven by hatred instead, I protested. In this world filled with karmic contracts designed for ascension, the more difficult a situation that one has to face, the higher the positive frequency that will be produced. And certainly, when a situation is difficult, mistakes may occur and wrong decisions can be made. When you make mistakes, your soul will have to guide you to bear the consequences of your actions. It's quite hard and complicated to recreate similar situations from which you can learn and truly understand when you have wronged others in the past, and how it feels like when someone has wronged you in that manner. As to your question on how the souls do that through love, you first have to understand how much your soul loves you. To give you an idea, I will compare it to the love that parents have for their children as the deepest form of pure love that you have ever experienced. Whenever you have done something wrong, your parents don't punish you out of hatred or anger, but they do it because they want you to change your ways and your thinking. I'll give you another example to make it clearer. What would you do if you had caught your son in the act of stealing your money? Ruthorn asked. I would punish him so that he wouldn't do it again, I replied spontaneously. All right, and after you have punished him, he promises that he won't do it again, but a few days later you found out that he did it again and again. What would you do then? Ruthorn went on. Of course, I would punish him again. So, although your punishment wasn't effective, you would still use the same method? You are right. So, what do you suggest I do instead? I asked him back. To make him learn that stealing is wrong, you could let him experience how it feels to have something valuable stolen from him. A father who loves his son, and wants him to become a good person, would make him experience a situation like that. As a father, you could secretly plot with a friend to steal something from your son and let him experience the sadness and suffering of losing that thing, so as to teach him a lesson. And when your son begins to honestly repent, this incident wouldn't happen again because you would vouch for and believe that your son is fully aware of his bad behavior and will not repeat it. When your son makes a mistake, he might not need to face the consequences or karma at all, if he regrets and confesses his wrongdoing to the father, and promises not to do it again. When he does that, all your plans to make him repent won't be necessary anymore, Ruthorn explained. I have to admit, it sounds like a good thing to commit a bad deed without having to bear the result of karma, I said. However, Ruthorn added, he has to show that he sincerely regrets his action and that he has changed his attitude. The proof would be by making him face and resist the temptation of stealing again and again, until you can be sure that your son won't do it anymore. It's a pity that most people tend to repent their actions with empty words. When they find themselves in a situation where they have to prove that they can resist temptations, more often than not they will likely succumb to these temptations and commit the same mistake again. So, the lesson to make them realize and regret what they have done would still need to be implemented. Now, based on this hypothesis, can you imagine what your soul has done to you, and why it has done so? Ruthorn asked me. Almost every event in your life was created by your soul and has guided you secretly, Ruthorn said. Is that so? I asked, quite surprised by what he had said. But what about those nice and fulfilling situations that occur in between moments of disappointments? Those situations exist in life as well. Yes, that happens in every moment of your life. Your soul creates these moments of fulfillment on purpose to show you how good they can make you feel. But if you observe closely, you'll see that those moments don't last long. They often occur before another disappointment hits you. Your soul wants you to make both of these experiences yourself. It's very different here since things never change here, he added. In your world, the moment of fulfillment is called merit, or good karma, which means you are being temporarily rewarded. It's not a permanent form of receiving because the soul knows that the conscious mind of everyone in your world still has to go through different lessons and repent, as a result of the accumulation of karmic contracts, said Ruthorn. I'm telling you another truth. No one comes to Tuangra to receive merit. The latter itself implies that those who commit good deeds expect to be rewarded. As a consequence, this means that a part of the mass weight of energy is still bound to that soul. The concept of receiving merit only exists in the world of Gaia and in an imaginary heaven, a place that only exists in your imagination. But those who are invited to Tuangra must have pure souls without the burden of any energy molecules. This means that everything they do, they have to do it with a pure intention, without expecting anything in return, including any rewards for good merit. Good deeds must always be done out of conscience, knowing that you do them because it's good and that it's worth doing. And only then would you have brought out the best quality in yourself, Ruthorn concluded.